Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Property Hotline on Magicbricks Now, India's first property channel. I am Kavita Krishnan. We are answering questions on home finance today with Harshil Mehta. Harshil is the CEO of DHFL. Harshil, welcome to the show. Let's take our first question. It comes in via email. Alden Pinto has written in. He says that he earns nearly 50,000 rupees a month. Now he plans to upgrade his parents' house from a 1 BHK to a 2 BHK. And he wants to take a loan of 20 lakh rupees for this. He has a pre-sanctioned letter from Citibank. Citi is offering him 9.65%. He's specifically going for a housing loan to save taxes, he says. Additionally, he's currently paying a personal loan of 10,000 rupees a month and says he can pay it off by the end of this year. Is he eligible to take a second loan? Is he eligible and is it advisable?
Yes, I'll answer both the questions. Alden, first thing is, you have taken a personal loan of 10,000 rupees. And since it is getting over by the end of this year, largely the rule of the thumb is, most of the lending institutions will not consider that as an obligation because it's soon getting over. So they will be looking at the loan eligibility from your current existing earnings, basis which what you have just mentioned, it looks that on the face of it, it looks that you will be eligible for a loan of about 30 to 32 lakh rupees. However, I must point out here that since you have a loan running, the first thing they are going to look is how your repayment track record is with respect to that particular loan which is currently going on. To answer your question, Kavita, on whether it is advisable to take a second loan, see, there are two kinds of loans. One are, short-term loans, and then a housing loan, which is typically a long tenure loan. So, personal loans or short-term loans are only taken to meet certain, short-term requirements. And these are long-term loans with an objective of building an asset over a period of time. So to that extent, it's okay if you go in, because here your objective is to build an asset for your lifetime and not, to meet your short-term financial requirements.
Right. So you are eligible for another loan, that is, and you should in fact go ahead and take that home loan. We have a first caller of the evening. Gaurav has called in from Kolkata. Gaurav, what's your question? How can we help you?
Okay, I've got two questions. These are regarding the home loans. Both the questions are regarding the home loans. I've got a property in Delhi NCR, it's in Gurgaon. That the property I have purchased around 7 years ago. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Gaurav.
I purchased the property 7 years ago, and I have taken a home loan from LIC. But it was a construction-linked home loan with a full EMI. Now what has happened is property construction hasn't started, and the first installment which I have taken, I have given it back in the year one itself. So past 6 years, my home loan is running. That time my home loan amount was at 8.9%. Now home loan has gone to 12.3% something. So, and every month I'm paying around 400 rupees to continue my existing home loan from past 5 years. So what do you suggest? Shall I continue with the same home loan, or shall I drop this home loan and reapply for new home loan, because construction hasn't started in yet? So I don't see there will be any demand that will be coming in next, say, 1 or 2 years now.
12.3% is a very, very expensive home loan that he's paying off. Should we stick to it?
You're right, and also the pertinent thing which you have mentioned here is the fact that your construction has not started. So what you are essentially doing is, whatever part disbursement you have taken, chances are you are paying a pre-EMI towards it, which is just plain simple interest. So your principal really doesn't change. And given the situation where you are in, where construction is yet to begin, I would, if I were in your place, I would, actually close the loan and wait for the construction to happen. And once you reach a certain level of construction, then go in for a loan, so that you are paying interest on something where you also see construction
Harshil,
happening.
this is a problem that a lot of home buyers are facing currently. Projects have been delayed across the board in cities across the country, in fact. And what do you do? I mean, like you're saying, close the loan. How does one close the loan? You have to repay what you've taken from the bank. Now the bank is not going to excuse that. So how do you then just close that loan? Because where do you get that money from?
Yes, Kavita, that's a very valid question. And this is a situation which we also often come across. Now, there are two things in this. Many times it so happens that, if there are enough savings which have come up, because see, it is not the full amount which has got dispersed. It's only a part amount which is going to be over and above the equity which you would have already put in. Now, if that amount is something which is manageable, because if construction has not started, chances are that the amount of disbursement would have been very less, as compared to a situation where the construction has started and it has reached somewhere midway and there is disbursements happen. Then it becomes pretty challenging to move the loan. So in the earlier phases, if you see an exit and if you also see an opportunity to that extent to say that, look, it's going to take some time, then the advice would be to say that, okay, I pay the loan, I wait till construction comes to a certain level. Whereas in the later, it's a situation where one has to manage.
Right. Gaurav, having listened to your question, my understanding, at least over here, is that your problem here is not really the home loan. The bigger problem is the fact that your project has been delayed, that there is absolutely no construction for the past 6 years. I think it's high time that you really sit down, have a conversation with the developer, find out where this project is going, and take a decision on whether you want to stay invested in this property in the first place. Repaying that loan, it comes at a later stage, but first you need to figure out all the money that you've put in. Where is it going? When is this project going to, when is construction going to begin? And when are you actually going to see that home? In the sense, when are you going to get possession of that? And like you do know, on Property Hotline, we also answer legal queries. So if you can get us details of this particular project, if you have a question regarding this, you can get in touch with us again, and we can get some of the the biggest legal experts in the country to help you solve that problem as well. As far as the home loan is concerned, like Harshil said, it is not really advisable to shift that loan. What you should ideally be doing is pay off that home loan and take a fresh loan. But ideally, do not take a fresh home loan to invest in the same project again. You're just throwing good money after bad money. So that's a call that you need to take, and one that you need to take very, very fast. We have a question coming in on our website, www.mbnow.in. Dilip has written saying that he's looking for a construction loan of around 40 lakh rupees. His income is 30,000 rupees a month. His brother's income is 25,000 rupees a month. They both are looking to take a joint loan. He wants to know what is the procedure to avail the loan, what are the documents required for the same. So it's a basic home loan 101 question. Harshil?
Yes, and a simple 101 answer to that is yes. That's basic documents, if you are salaried, would be your KYC documents, your bank statements, your salary Form 16, your salary slips. You and your brother both are applying, then you need to give the income documents for both of them. On the face of it, it looks that you are eligible for a higher loan amount basis if you combine the income of both of them. Since it's a construction loan, the other documents which will be more important is with respect to the land title. Because whether that land is non-agricultural, falling in residential zone, and then is a question whether you have the necessary plan approvals and the construction approvals to do the construction. And basis which the disbursement will happen, and the disbursement will also be on the stage depending upon how the progress happens. So that's how typically the entire loan process would work for you, Dilip.
Harshil, before we move on to the next question, this is one question that I really, really want to ask you, and also because you belong to an HFC, a housing finance company. Now, lately we've seen how RBI has come up with this new formula, and how your home loan rates of interest, the way it is being calculated, all of that has actually changed. Banks have announced a lot of banks have announced new rates of interest for their home loans, which are quite lower than what they were giving earlier. What will happen with HFCs? Because HFCs don't really come under RBI, so they don't need to follow the MCLR formula. But do you see HFCs eventually going to competition, coming up with an MCLR-like formula, bringing down interest rates? Will you bring down interest rates?
Kavita, what you have said is very relevant, and considering the fact that we are a lending entity, at the same time we are a borrowing entity. From an end user perspective, it is always going to be a comparison, and while the inherent nature of the bank and a housing finance company is different, because we also do a lot of borrowings from the banks. So somewhere, this all will have to fall in line with respect to how the HFCs will also calculate their MCLR. While at this point of time, there is no clear direction from our regulators, but somewhere going forward, we believe that, somewhere the marginal cost of lending will come into play, and that's how, because then it will apply on the borrowing side as well, and then which will create a level playing field, so that it also benefits to the customer to that extent. And yes, from a borrowing perspective also, then the borrowing rates will also be aligned to the marginal cost of lending.
But having said that, we've seen RBI cut repo rates. Will we eventually see HFCs also reduce interest rates?
Yes, Kavita. In fact,
Where are you reducing interest rates on your home loans?
At DHFL, we have always believed that any reduction in cost of funds, there is a benefit which goes to the customer. So in this scenario also, you will eventually see the benefit of that going to the customers. But one also has to realize that 100% borrowing of a housing finance company does not come only from the banks. So it is also a question of what is the impact, and when the impact gets to the housing finance company, which then gets passed on.
You're not answering my question, Harshil. You're not telling me whether DHFL is going to reduce rates soon, or whether you're considering that at least.
Kavita, we are very clear. The day we see the benefit getting accrued to us, we pass on the benefit to the customers, and we have demonstrated this over the years. And to that extent, we stand committed as well to our customers, that we see the benefit, we'll pass it on to our customers. We are yet to see the impact of the rate cut which was announced. But yes, we see the benefit, we pass it on to the customers.
So eventually you will see cheaper home loans from HFCs as well. With that, let's take our email query next. Himanshu Gupta has written in. He says that he's taken a home loan from Axis Bank. He wants to know the documents which he needs to collect from the bank after repaying the loan. He does not have any acknowledgement that the bank possesses all the documents related to title of the property. He wants to know what can he do. So you've answered a question about applying for a home loan. Now this is closing a home loan.
Himanshu, when you close a loan and when you go to your bank, you can always ask them for foreclosure statement, and basis which, along with the foreclosure statement, you can also ask your bank to provide you with a list of documents. They will provide you with a list of documents which will state that what are the documents they are holding as a security. So what happens is, when you foreclose the loan, those are the documents which you will get back from them. So to that extent, yes, when you foreclose the loan, you can always ask them for a list of documents.
Right. So there is a list of documents that you need to ask for when you foreclose a loan. You can see that on the screen right now. We've pulled that up for you. Also, Harshil, tell me this very quickly. I know that there is a time period for which the bank or the HFC which is concerned will keep the documents with them. After which, I believe it goes into storage or something. So how soon does someone have to go to the bank and take those documents after closing that home loan?
Kavita, normally every lending institution has their turnaround times for retrieval of these documents, because many times these documents are stored in a secured environment and in a central location, which is usually, professional agencies who do that. So typically, after the payment has been received, there is a retrieval request. The turnaround time for that is anywhere from 17 to 21 days, depending upon...
And how long will the bank or HFC hold on to the document for you, and after which they say it goes into storage again, is what I've heard?
No, see, as far as the documents are concerned, the moment they receive as a process, it goes directly to the storage. Okay. Because, these are all to be stored in a secured environment. So there are always processes which are said that the documents are received, they go back as a routine process.
So it will take at least 2 to 3 weeks after you close your home loan for you to actually get those property papers in hand. We have another question that's come in on our website. S.A. Prabhu has written in from Bengaluru, and he says that he claimed IT benefit on both the principal and interest on his first housing loan. That loan is closed now. He's recently purchased a second flat in his wife's name and has raised the loan in her name as well. Now his wife is a housewife, she has no income. They'll be staying in the new flat that will be registered also in her name. But can Mr. Prabhu claim IT benefit on the principal and the interest of the second home loan for their new home?
Mr. Prabhu, to get the benefit of the income tax, what you need to do is you need to ensure that you are one of the owners of the property, and at the same time you also have to ensure that the EMI which is being paid goes from your account. There are two criteria which you need to meet. Is one is, yes, you need to be a co-owner or a owner of the property, and
Harshil, when you say co-owner of the property, that means the agreement papers need to be made in the name of both the husband and the wife. Both your names need to be present. Only then can you actually go and claim tax exemption on your home loan. And like Harshil said, ensure that the EMI for the home loan is being paid from your account. So once you establish that paper trail, then you can claim tax deduction.
Yes.
I'm told we have a caller who's called in. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how can we help you? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, you can ask your question, but if you could just mute your television set, that is creating some disturbance.
Acha, okay.
Yeah.
Go
on, ask us your question.
I have taken... Hello?
Yes, tell us your question.
Sir, I have taken a housing loan from Public Sector Bank in 2010. Now I wish to shift this loan to another bank at a cheaper rate of interest. But Public Sector Bank from which I have taken housing loan charges flat prepayment charges of 2%, as it is shifted to another bank which is mentioned in their terms and conditions. Can they charge first 2% charges in respect of my housing loan?
Prepayment charges has been abolished by RBI, right?
Yes. See, there are two things you need to keep this in mind. See, prepayment charges or foreclosure charges penalty has been waived only if the interest rate is on a floating basis. And number two is also if a company, if you are if you have taken a loan in the name of your, if you are a self-employed person and if you have taken a loan in the name of your company, then the waiver is not applicable. In that scenario, if the sanction letter mentions that there is a prepayment penalty, then that is applicable. But otherwise, if it is in the name of an individual and you want to foreclose the loan and it is on a floating rate of interest, then yes, the RBI guideline on that is very clear that foreclosure charges are not applicable.
It's a very, very important thing to remember over there. If you are trying to foreclose a floating rate loan, that is if you're trying to move a floating rate loan from one bank to another bank, you don't need to pay any charges, any prepayment penalties. However, if it is a fixed rate home loan, then you will have to pay some foreclosure charges. How much would that average, would that be on an average? Would it be around 2%?
Usually one does see that it is around 2%. But however, I want to point out one thing here. I think he mentioned that the current interest rate which he is paying is 9.6%, which I think is anyway very, very competitive, because even if you do a balance transfer, you would end up paying processing fees and other fees to the other bank. So I really don't know whether you will benefit out of this unless and until you are looking for a top-up and the other bank is offering you a higher top-up loan. But then the top-up rate also would be higher.
Right. You know, the other thing that you could also do is have a conversation with your bank and tell them that rates are coming down and, you know, everybody's benefiting from it. You would like to get a better deal on your home loan. Have that conversation. Tell them that you're thinking of moving to another bank, switching the loan to another bank. Chances are they might just turn around and offer you quite a competitive rate themselves. So you will actually end up saving on all those processing charges all over again. Right? Let's move on. Ram Prasad, I'm told, has called in. Ram Prasad, what is your question?
Madam, my question is Kavita Krishnan.
Yes, tell us what's your question.
Really, good afternoon and thank you for that. We have taken a home loan account from State Bank of India on 26/9/2013.
Okay.
For the amount sanctioned, the amount was 95 lakhs.
Okay.
Then we have, as on date, we have drawn only 35 lakhs. They say from November 2015, we should pay 95,000 rupees per month as EMI, stating that since even though we have not drawn 95 lakhs, still EMI has to be paid on 95 lakhs, which comes to around 90,000 rupees per month. Previously, we were paying only 31,000 rupees. That is for the amount drawn interest. Now they have started EMI, which is 90,000 rupees per month, which is rather, we find it is very unreasonable because we have not drawn the amount.
Harshil,
So
Yeah. Let me get Harshil in. Harshil, does Ram Prasad have to pay an EMI of 95,000 rupees when he's only drawn 35 lakhs from a loan amount of 95 lakh rupees?
Kavita, this is what I'm hearing is pretty unusual, unless and until it's a EMI under construction. There is a product which is called as an EMI under construction, which means that you don't pay pre-EMI during the construction phase, but actually you start paying your EMI during the phase of construction, which kind of helps in two ways, because you also start paying towards your principal. And the normal principles say that you pay interest only on what you have drawn. So on the basis of what you have just said, Mr. Ramprasad, is it looks as if you are being charged interest on a sanctioned amount and not on the disbursed amount. And I think you need to go back to your bank and have this clarified, or whether it is a part of a loan agreement which says that there has to be some amount of commitment fees or anything like that, that this loan has to be drawn down under this time frame, failing which they will charge this. So maybe you want to relook at how, on what conditions was the loan sanctioned, and in an event if there is no clarity coming from that sanction letter, maybe you want to approach the bank and have this clarified with them.
And if he's not satisfied with the answer, if he still feels that he is getting an unfair deal, what can Ram Prasad do? Would you suggest that he move his home loan? Should he go to the banking ombudsman? What does he really need to do over here?
See, if he is really not satisfied with the response he gets, he can definitely escalate it to the nodal officer of the bank itself. Failing which, he can always approach the banking ombudsman for seeking a clarification on that. But on the face of it, it looks to me that it could be either of the two. So maybe he needs to go back and actually check under what conditions was the loan sanctioned to you.
So Ramprasad, just go through your loan documents, see if you're paying a construction EMI loan like Harshil said, or is it, you have to pay the entire amount, as in the EMI for the entire amount that has been sanctioned to you, which is 95 lakh rupees, in which case it's probably beneficial to you because you're paying off a lot of your principal at an early stage of your home loan. However, that is a conversation that you need to have with your bank. Get that clarification, like Harshil said, right? With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Property Hotline. Harshil Mehta, thank you very much for joining us. If you have any feedback or suggestions that you would like to share, any questions that you would like to ask, and this is questions to do with anything in real estate. It could be buying, selling, or investing in real estate. It could be taxes, it could be legal issues, or it could be home finance issues. Send in those questions. You know how to get in touch with us. You can write in through email, Facebook, on our website, tweet to me, or simply call us live on Property Hotline. Thank you very much for watching. Keep watching Magicbricks Now.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.